Okay, we are already live on YouTube. Good evening again, guys. Good evening, YouTube. We already introduced ourselves before, so I'll just say a little bit about Talk and Talk. Talk and Talk is a platform that we can practice language. We have English, Spanish, French, and the main goal here is to practice speaking without any judgment and talking about subjects that we enjoy. I'm not a teacher, I'm a student, as Viviane and Jefferson here. And today we are going to talk about books. Basically, our topic is between the pages. And I would like to start with Viviane. Do you prefer physical books or e-readers? You said that you read a lot, and I understood that you travel a lot for work. So what kind of book do you
No,
prefer?
I'm a travel consultant, but not travel a lot.
Oh,
No,
okay, okay.
but I read a lot. In this year, I read the 20 books, 20
That's
books,
nice.
and I like the e-read in Kindle. I don't have a Kindle, but I have a app. The name is Esquilo. Do you know Esquilo?
Yeah.
And I'm I think so convenient. But when you read on cell phone, have notifications and it's uh, it's not good. And I like audiobooks too, but I prefer the physical books because I like to writing remarks and notes, and I write it with highlights, and I put comments about the the, the books. I prefer physical.
That's nice. Uh, I like physical books, but I don't read them too much anymore because I don't know why, but I think that I got used to the Kindle's way because it's so light, you know, to hold a Kindle than to hold a book. And sometimes I like to read some big fantasy books that is like 100 pages, and it's possible to hold a book that is so big, you know. Then sometimes I really like books, physical books, but sometimes it's hard for me. So I think that for me now, I would say that I prefer e-reader, and I just really like Kindle. And what about you, Jefferson? What do you prefer?
I'm an old guy, not like you, Sacramento, but just a little ages more. But I love.
Jefferson, I try to change my surname because this Sacramento is my ex-husband, but I don't know because it appears here.
You had eight husbands? Eight? Oh my
ex,
gosh.
ex, my ex-husband.
Oh, I understood eight.
Oh,
I imagine Vivian killed eight guys. But it's so beautiful, the name. It's an international name. No, don't do this. Don't do this. It's so beautiful. My name is Vieira and Castro too. And I count this a history before, but let's go to the question. As I agree with Sacramento, I prefer physical books. I love the texture. I love the weight. I love to smell, to touch, to write, and sometimes my wife used to fight with me because I write all the time the books, all the books that I have at my library, all of them with a lot of, sometimes with pen, sometimes with pencil, and so on. When I used to travel all the time, I use a physical book. But as Sacramento told too, I have some not e-readers, but I used to buy books by Amazon, books that I used to teach, and all of them is e-readers. So now I I need to change the other reality. When I used to say to the guys, students, you must buy a book, it's okay. And I go to the class, who bought? Who bought the book? Where's the book? It's here. My cell phone. Why? It's so different, but what can you do?
Yes, but I think that for study, for entertainment, not so much, but I think that for study, it's necessary the physical book so you can open, you can have the space to add your notes, your things, because I don't know if you have a ebook on your Kindle app, it's so strange to write something, and I think that maybe for learning, I don't know, typing on the phone or even on the Kindle doesn't reinforce so much the learning as writing down, like you read something and you think about your ideas and then you write down. I think that this interaction that we have with a book for learning is really different when it comes to physical and digital books, I think. How is this for you guys when you are studying, for example, this interaction with the book?
I used to write all
Jefferson.
the time in all kind of education now about memories. Used to say this: when you write, you remember more. When you write your hands, you remember more than you when you type by cell phone or PC or something like this.
Yes. And what about you, Viviane?
I prefer to write too, and I do a summary about the books when I spend more time reading because I'm not reading, I'm study the book, and I spend more time write a tip in the book or researching the internet something I how can I say curiosity about the books say, and I spend time. Now I'm reading a book by Tony Robbins. The name is Desperte o seu gigante interior. Have 600 pages. It's so dense, and I prefer write the ideas about the book.
Yes, I agree. I think that is better to develop your ideas and to remember things. But guys, about books that you read before in your life, Do you have any specific book that you remember from your childhood or when you were a teenager that you still hold on to your heart? Jefferson, do you have any favorite book that you read when you were younger?
Yes, yes. A lot of book from Ziraldo. Ziraldo died, I think, this year. Yeah, this year, Ziraldo. And I remember the book called Menino Maluquinho, the story of Menino Maluquinho. It's like my that time that we use full of imagination to play soccer, to play great games, to do something that's not so good for society, especially today. Traquinagem, I really don't know how to say this, but all of this you can see by the story of Menino Maluquinho. And it's very interesting. Remember the book, he discovered a lot of crazy things about the boys. Uh, what else? About affection too, the importance of relation between the, the guys playing soccer, and for me affect me a lot. From that time on, I I learned the importance to play games, to be good with the other, to have affection about the other people. And Ziraldo is a left-wing guy, né? Cara de esquerda. And he talked a lot about freedom. It's very important that time, about the freedom, the period that I live, about dictatorship in Brazil. I remember when I was a little guy. So uh, we I began to read with Ziraldo, and then I used to read the magazine from Ziraldo, Pasquim, for example. It's a very good magazine from left wing from Brazil. And from that time on, I never stopped reading.
That's so nice that you mentioned Ziraldo and Menino Maluquinho because when you said about kids on the comics doing traquinagens, it's so funny because when you see kids now they are not doing that. That's something nice to do when you are a kid, right? To discover things and to be with your friends. And now kids are more often in front of screens, cell phones, television, Netflix. And I don't know how that helps. It doesn't, obviously, but the sense of community and being around other people that and with your friends, for example, as we see in these comic books that you mentioned, like Menino Maluquinho. And for me, for example, I remember Turma da Mônica. I think Turma da Mônica for me is amazing. It's so funny. It has a lot of different stories and characters that you can relate to it. And yeah. And what about you, Viviane? Do you have any favorite from your childhood, from your teenage years?
When I child, I like to read Turma da Mônica too, and Zé Carioca, and but have a specific book. The name is Na Barreira do Inferno. And Na Barreira do Inferno is a place in Natal, Rio Grande do Norte. And when I study, the teach suggested this book and have a history for let me see, 4 or 5 teenager, and they uh, discover who murdered the environment active and have I don't know in English, but a trama of the book. The five teenagers do an investigation for discover who murdered the environment activists and have a plan. Is a book for adventure, and because the environment activists was murdered, because we have a plan to how can I say, lançar foguete na Barreira do Inferno. Is a place in Brazil, in Rio Grande do Norte, and the base to, how can I say, foguete in English?
Rocket?
Yeah, rocket, yeah. To launch the rocket, yeah.
Rocket.
Oh.
Then, na Barreira do Inferno, in Natal, Rio Grande do Norte, is a place to send rockets. And I like this book because I travel in my imagination and to desperate in me. I want to go to the Natal and know the Morro do Careca, and it's fantastic.
You mentioned the place, and I was when you said that in Natal you have a place that you launch rockets. I remember that I passed through this place when we were in Natal, and we were going to a city that is next that have the biggest cashew tree in the world, you know. So in the road you have this.
Yeah, go
Yes,
ahead.
Pirangi, I think.
I think o nome é something like this.
Yes. Yeah, and I remember that in the road you have a place in the side with a lot of rockets, and I didn't understood what it was about. Of course, I understood that okay, there are rockets there, but I I didn't know that that they launched something there. That's nice to know. I when you were saying, I was searching for the book, and it seems really nice, and I think that it's so nice for us when we have when we can make a connection to stories that are more close to us, you know, because I don't know for you guys, but I started reading a lot of, you know, besides the comics, the Brazilian comics, as we said, but I think that I read too much foreign literature, and I think that it's so nice when we found a story that is close to us, to our hometown, our state. You know, it's so different from any other thing. Um, but guys, I would like to hear from you now. What do you read the most? Fiction or non-fiction books? What do you like to read more, Jefferson?
Non-fiction, non-fiction. Most of the time, I read more non-fiction because I like to learn new ideas, frameworks, the history, philosophy, economic, mathematics, and so on. All of these, unfortunately, only with non-fiction. But sometimes when I used to travel, I used to, I'm trying, it's not so easy, but I'm trying to read about fiction. Because I think fiction is a way to escape from the reality, to think about other things. And I sometimes I appreciate, for example, uh, you can read a book of non-fiction talk about the place, the guys, the lovers, the fights, and tragedy, and so on. Sometimes it's so good because it's like you watching the Brazilian TV, like Rede Globo, etc. I think it's the same when you see the fiction, we read the fiction. And for me, sometimes it's good because I'm seeing new words that I never thought to talk in English. And English and Spanish. I love to read in Spanish too. That means that
Yes.
no fiction is a way you learn something from your reality, gossip, and something like this. Yeah.
Yes, I think that for me, I am between nonfiction and fiction books, but I think that I read more fiction. But sometimes the feeling that I have reading nonfiction books is that I am working because, okay, yes, we usually read nonfiction because we want to learn something because we are interested in a specific subject. For me it feels like work when I when I read nonfiction, but I really enjoy reading fiction books because, as you say, I think that for me fiction is a different way to see the reality because people write stories with what they live, with what they know. So I think that it's always another way to see the reality, you know. One book that not necessarily one book, but a series of books that I really love is Foundation by Isaac Asimov. And it's a really big series, science fiction, that he wrote based on the the falling of the Ro- Roman Empire. And it's something that we still see nowadays, you know, in politics and how we behave as humankind his, through the years. And it's really interesting to see this point of view that we see in fiction, but it can be about the reality that we live. And what about you, Viviane? What do you read the most nowadays?
I like nonfiction. Um, I like the book about the human development. I like so much, and geographies too, and about mindset, psychology. I like the books about human development for needs or overcame about a people or a person overcame the challenge. For example, in this year, I read two books by David Goggins and about overcame because he was a fat and he started to run and work out. And this book is motivation, a motivate book. And the name is Nada Pode Me Ferir, and the other by David Goggins too, Nunca é Hora de Parar. And I like books about this subject, about overcoming, mindset, and the biographies, development, human development.
Yeah, that's nice. I I started reading some kind of these books this year because you know when you understand that you are able to change, and I think the science now, specifically neuroscience, shows that for us now that we can change the way that we think and the way that we behave. Of course, it's a process, it can be a long process to change something, to change a behavior or some believing that we have. But but it's nice to to see how we can improve with science, because sometimes we of course a lot of people wrote this kind of books before, and now we have science giving this background, so it's nice to sorry guys, my throat's terrible. It's nice to understand how we can change. And and I think that it's something that we can always learn about, because it's never too late to change, to learn new abilities, to learn new things. And that's really nice. Guys, I think that I would like to hear from you now if you have any specific rule about finished books. Do you force yourself to finish books, or I don't know, when the story is getting boring, you abandon the book and that's not a problem? What do you think, Jefferson? How is it for you?
I have a strategy. I used to take the book, read 30, 40 pages, and so I decide I will finish or not. Sometimes the book's not so good. No, I give up from this book. I give up. It's so bad, so boring. The same thing. I can't appreciate it. And this is my strategy. For example, in the past, I used to buy 10 or more books by month. I used to this strategy and put at my table. And then I used to read. So I used to read. When I see the book, I said, no, it's not what I think about what I used to say. I take this book, give to my students, or put here. We have a library here at the university that I put there. I didn't appreciate it. And this is my strategy. Né? It's not so good. I need to stop. Why I must read something that I don't appreciate? It's from different from
Yeah,
my wife, for example. Né? The same example. My wife loves to watch serious episodes, and she used to say, "You must watch this. It's okay." I begin to watch by Netflix. Not so good. No, I can. And she goes until the end. The last episode is so boring. Oh my gosh. But it's the same strategy that I use with book. I used to watch a series by Netflix, for example.
yeah, that's a good strategy. But did you ever call yourself going back to a book that you read, these 30 pages, and you didn't like? And then you remember that you have this book, and oh, I think that it can be a good moment to read now, and then you decide to read, or that never happened.
Nah, yeah, it happens sometimes. Yeah, yeah. I remember a lot of books, for example, hard books about Marx, Lenin, and other guys. I remember to because I did my master degree in philosophy. I used to read a lot about philosophy, all kind of philosophy. And I remember some types of book that the first time I thought, oh my gosh, what I'm doing here, doing my master's degree in philosophy. But then I used to just some books I used to read again, and with a new appreciation
Yes,
or a new
because
point
I
of view.
really,
Yeah.
yes, I really think that sometimes it's not because it's a bad book, but it's just the moment that we are living that it's not the right place to us to read that specific book, you know. And what about you, Viviane? Do you have any rule or do you have the same rule as Jefferson now?
No,
How is it for
I,
you?
I agree with you, Iago, when you say the books is moments. For me, the books is moments. For example, in this year, I choose the word to guide my year, the courage. The word was courage. And I use the chat GPT can help me choose, give me tip about books about the courage. And but I do the list, the books, but um, in this moment, I started reading a specific book. I'm you know, I feel this moment is a disconnection with the idea of the book. And I agree with you when you say this, the book is moment. For example, in my list was a book about the name is Saúde Perfeita by Deepak Chopra, but is a book a technical, more technical, and I don't find it boring. But in that moment, it's not. How can I say? I forgot the word. Não era o momento de ler aquele livro. Then I give up. I give up and follow my list with the other books. But book for me, it's moment. It's moment.
Yes, I totally agree because sometimes, I don't know, it might be the story that don't connect with us in the moment, or sometimes it can be hard for us and we don't have enough repertoire to understand completely, you know. So yes, I totally agree that that there are some books that is for some specific moments for our life. And for me, I don't think that I have a specific rule to finish books. But when I was younger, I used to pressure myself to finish books. I don't know why, because that doesn't make sense. If I'm not enjoying the reading, why am I pressuring myself to read a book? So now I think that I have a similar strategy as Jefferson, but not necessarily, I don't know, the immediate first impression with 30, 40 pages, I don't know. But usually I try to maybe read 100 pages and I try to understand because I know that some books can be boring or can be difficult at the beginning, and it can be interesting when you overcome a few pages. So I push myself further a little bit, but not too much. If I think that it's getting boring, then it's okay to abandon the book and the story, and that's fine. And guys, about having time to read. Um, how do you organize your life for reading? Because for me, for example, I have weeks that I read every day. I don't know, even if it's just half an hour or an hour per day. But sometimes I have weeks that I don't read anything because I don't know, it goes too fast and I don't find time, or it's not even about finding time, but prioritizing, you know. But how is it for you, Jefferson? How do you find time? How do you prioritize reading?
I need to read all the time. As a profession, it's impossible not to read. I used to read articles all the times, and figures and numbers from IBGE, Banco Central, and so on all the time. I'm reading reports about all of this. And I need to read books too, because as a professor, it's a new book, the interpretation of some reality that I need to know, a new point of view about some subject. I need to read. I need to read. I need to be updated. Uh, and I have a other strategy to read books, for example, about philosophy, history, and so on. At the weekends, what I do, I go to watch, for example, a film from Netflix. When I finish the film, and my wife, oh, I have another film for you to watch. No, I'm very tired. I need to disconnect from the screen. I really don't appreciate it. And then I change, I go to the other kind of books. Not about the books, technical books, but about philosophy, history, and other kinds of things. And I use this strategy, especially at the weekends.
That's nice. And how is it for you, Viviane?
Oh, in the morning when I have a free time, because in the morning I'm a training. But if my training is a short training, I I choose 30 minutes or 1 hour to read. Or if you don't have enough time, I'm reading about 5, 6 pages per day in the morning because I may wake up early and I use this time to read. And I separated the 20 or 30 minutes or 5 or 6 pages in the morning. And at night, if I don't tired, I read again. But in the weekends, I read more. I read more. And on Saturday in the afternoon or Sunday in the morning. But in weekends, I read more.
That's nice. And how is it for you to run away from another distractions, you know, because as I said, for me, for example, I like to read in my lunch time. Usually I read, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, and then I get a little nap before going to work again. And, but sometimes I spend too much time on YouTube, for example, and that's what happens when I'm not prioritizing reading. I am probably on YouTube, and I would like to hear from you guys. How do you run away from another distractions? Jefferson, you already said about Netflix, for example, but what
Yeah,
else do you do?
yeah, I have YouTube channel. I have a lot of guys that I used to watch, but they spend 1 hour or 1 hour and a half, no more than this. I have a lot of I don't remember the name now. A lot of guys, thousands of YouTube that I not follow, But I have that when I just think about something. For example, Yuval Harari, né? Some YouTubers is very interesting. And I go there sometimes. I watch Yuval Harari, I love it, sometimes I hate it. Oh my gosh, too bad about something. Yeah. But sometimes I appreciate it a lot. And about other authors, I think is the same. Is the same.
And how is it for you, Viviane? How do you run away from distractions to read more?
No, I'm have a focus. When I decided to read, I go to the kitchen and put my cell phone far from me, and I'm concentrated. But in on YouTube, I like the listening audiobooks. For me, it's more easy to understand the idea of the book. And when you listen audiobook, it's more easy because the other read for you and you listen. It's okay. I like it. In first, I like the physical book, and second, the audiobook. And the e-reading is more difficult because have a notification on cell phone. And then when I start to read, I put my cell phone far from me.
Yeah. And did you ever try to read a book while you are listening the audiobook? Like the same book, obviously. But did you ever try to do this? Because, for example, for me, I tried to do this reading. Oh my God, what happened? Oh, just a strange notification that happens here. But I tried to do this when I began to read Lord of the Rings because I thought that it was really, really difficult for me to follow the story at the beginning. And then I found this YouTube channel with the audiobooks, and I was there reading the book and listening the person reading the book for me, you know, and that made easier to follow the story. Did you ever try this or no?
It's not for me, for Sacramento. I don't like audiobook.
Oh,
You must answer, not me. I can read
what
and watch at the same
what
time.
the question? What the
I, I
question?
was ask, I was asking you if you ever tried to read a book and listen the audiobook of the same book to, I don't know,
Yes.
maybe help
In the same
understanding the
time? The
story.
same time? Uh,
Yes.
uh, no, I don't try. I don't try.
Yes, because I was saying that I tried this reading Lord of the Rings, and it was a good experience to begin the story because I was finding it a little bit difficult. But I don't have patience for audiobooks. I think that I am similar to Jefferson. I prefer to read. And I don't know because sometimes I think that the listening I don't pay attention too much, you know, because for example, if I am listening a podcast at the gym, for example, I'm not listening something to that I need to understand properly. I just need some noise on my ear.
I never go to
So
the gym to listen podcasts. I go to the gym to talk. I love to talk too much. to talk the reality, see the guys. It's a big opportunity. You go to the list with the podcast. Oh, come on.
I
You need to
hate
pay attention to the
talking.
people.
I hate talking with people at the gym. It's too early for me, you know.
I love, I love.
Guys, we have.
On the gym, only music, only music. I put the Spotify and the only. But
No, I never, I never.
I need a concentration to read. When I say in the beginning, I'm studied in English, the study the book, and I may write and do remarks, and I like this.
Yes. And guys, I think that we have more time to a quick question. Um, I think that this is a good one. Have you ever read a book that genuinely changed your opinion on a subject or changed the way that you see the world? Of course, that happens a lot, but I think that it's nice for us to end the conversation with a really nice suggestion of a book that changed your point of view. Jefferson, what book changed your opinion, your mind about something?
I'm too bad about names and especially authors and the name of the book. But I read a lot of book from a guy that used to talk in CBN, talk about it's a strong man, a professor from I know everything about them. Cortella, Sérgio Cortella. A lot of books. Yeah, I remember the name. Sérgio Cortella, a lot of things very interesting. Books that capture about learning, about reflection, about our life, our relationship, and so on. In this case, I think changed a lot. Not that he would change my mind, but the way I think about my point of view is the same point of view of him. And sometimes I used to deu liga, né? Something connected, but between what I think and what he is saying. He's saying, or I'm reading about the book that I used to buy from him.
Yes, I really like Mário Sérgio Cortella. I think that he talks so much about how we need to slow down our life sometimes and to pay attention on things. I really enjoy him. And what about you, Viviane?
No, for me, no have a specific book, but about to change my point of view. I had a book by I forgot the name. T. Harv Eker, writing Os Segredos da Mente Milionária. When I started read this book, I think uh, about the mindset for rich and abundance. But when I read in the second time, changed my mind about the money, about the abundance and the prosperity. But the first time, no, a friend of mine gave me this book. I read, but I don't agree with the ideas of the author. But when I read on the second time, I changed my opinion.
Yes, as we said, it wasn't the right moment to read the first
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I think that for me, just real quickly, because we have just 1 minute, I think that one book that changed my mind about basically the way that we live now in a capitalist society was Sociedade do Cansaço. It's a really short book, but it's a really heavy subject about how we live nowadays and how we can be explored in the way that that we live now. It's a really interesting book. And that's it, guys. We don't have enough time to talk more. And I would like to thank you guys for the conversation. It was really nice. I always like to talk about books because I love to read, and it was really nice to talk to to other people that like to read a lot. And thank you so much again. Have a nice week. We don't have much time.